Hey guys, welcome back to Good Moral Tactical. So today I wanted to cover a topic that I don't see covered a whole lot. And it actually came up in a competition that I went to here recently. And what that is mechanical offsets. Now, that can have a few different terms for people. Mechanical offset, like I just said, or optical offset. And all that means is the difference between how high your optic is mounted on the firearm versus your barrel. Now you're probably wondering, why does this offset even really matter? And what it is it's actually affecting your accuracy as you're pulling the target in closer to you. So of course everybody knows zeroing an optic on a firearm, and what that is wherever the middle dot or crosshair on that optic is what your point of impact is supposed to be on that ammunition and that rifle once you zero it. However, what a lot of people don't realize is that the optic and the barrel, when you first put it on, are parallel each other because they are both straight, pointing out in the same exact direction. And so a zero is when you are crisscrossing these two lines to have a meeting point. And that is what your zero is. So whatever you decide to have for your point of impact, whether it be 50 yards, 100 yards, like my rifle is, or a combat one that I've seen a few people talk about, which is 33 yards on 5.56. All of that is affected with the height over bore of your optic. So in my case, this is actually about 2-inch height over bore because of the riser and the rings that I'm having to use since I don't have a unimount. And so what this is doing is it has the center line of the optic 2 inches higher than the mounting point. So realistically, all in all, with my height over bore, I'm probably at about 2.5 inches from the center line of my barrel. Now, what that's going to do as I'm pulling the target in closer, not only am I having to divide my zero by however many yards it is that I'm pulling the target in, but I'm having to adjust with the height over bore and aiming up higher than what my zero would have been in order for me to get the same point of impact in an A zone. And so I'll throw the formula up on the screen for you, and we can put in an example with my specific cartridge, height over bore, with a 10-yard target, because with this formula, it is going to be using inches for everything so that we can stay consistent with the measurement of height over bore. So with this formula, what I found is I have to be at typically around 6 mils on my optic in order to be hitting the same exact point of impact as my zero for 100 yards. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like if I go ahead and do the exact shot with zero, and then the shot being with the 6 mil hold up, and show you the difference that we're talking about. So let's go over and test that out. All right, let's go take a look. So here is the visual representation of what we mean by offset. This one right here is if I'm using my zero for a 77 grain 5.56 round. This is when I actually do a holdover, which granted I still didn't get into the A zone the way that I wanted to, but I think that's more trigger pull than aim, with a 6 mil hold, and I'm just below the box. So if I was trying to hit into the A zone for competition to make point, if I just do point of direction with expecting to do what my zero is at 100 yards, I'm not going to even be close to the A zone. I have to hold 6 mils in order to hit that A zone. So now we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time it's going to be at 20 yards. All right, so we're at the 20 yards now. We did our calculations. I'm going to show you the first shot is going to be if I hold zero at the head where it's going to hit. And then the second one is going to be with our calculations from this formula to show you how it differs. All right, let's go take a look. All right, so right here, you're gonna see where our shot was if I was just doing directly in the middle of my crosshairs as if it was zeroed at 100 yards. This one is when I actually hold at 4 mils for the shot. So that way you can see how big of a deviation we have here between these two shots. And this goes to show you what that offset really is and why it's so important at competition to know what your offset is, so that whenever you run into any targets that is closer to you than whatever your zero may be, you know how to counteract that with having to adjust your optic and just using your holdovers. So I hope this helped you guys on knowing what the offset is going to be for your rifles in the future. Go ahead and throw it in the comments if there's anything else about optics that you want to learn, or if you have any questions about this formula and how to adjust it for yourself. And we hope to see you guys on the next video. See ya.